very happy Monday and welcome to AI News, where I read the news so you don't have to. And first thing, Monday morning, we've got a pretty terrifying one from ft.com. Google's DeepMind brain merger. Tech giant regroups for AI battle. Madhumita Murgia writes, Google founder Larry Page convinced Dennis Hassabis to sell his artificial intelligence company DeepMind with a promise. The London-based startup would be shielded from pressure to make money in order to focus on a single goal, creating computer software that equals or surpasses human intelligence, said the synopsis for a sci-fi movie about the end of humanity. Since the £400 million deal in 2014, Hassabis has fought to maintain Page's pledge and, according to three people with knowledge of the efforts, has gone further still. DeepMind pushed for an independent legal status akin to a non-profit, with an individual governance board overseeing the powerful technology it was trying to build. Such moves came to a close last week, however, when Sundar Pichai, Page's successor as chief of Google parent Alphabet, announced that DeepMind would merge with Google Brain, the tech giant's own AI lab headquartered in California. The move means Hassabis will cede DeepMind's cherished independence in return for greater power and influence over the future of AI. The newly formed Google DeepMind unit will be led by him, with a clear mission to develop general AI systems that are even more capable and responsible and can be integrated into new products and services, according to Pichai. Google's reorganisation was triggered by the rise of OpenAI, the Microsoft-backed group which last November launched ChatGPT, and we know what that is. The sudden popularity of ChatGPT, used by more than 100 million people as of January, shattered Google's belief that it had a strong lead in the race to build and commercialise AI. Microsoft has since announced it will embed OpenAI-built tools across its productivity software. Deep-pocketed rivals from Meta and Alibaba have announced large investments in AI products. Several well-resourced startups, including a nascent effort from Tesla and Twitter chief Elon Musk, are set to provide yet more competition. Google also faces an existential dilemma. Its search business, which accounted for the majority of Alphabet's annual revenues of $283 billion in 2022, appears to be under direct threat. Large language models like ChatGPT can respond to queries with comprehensive written answers rather than a set of links. These tools could provide millions of users with a route to bypass online advertising. Seeking to respond to that threat, Google has reorganised so that Hassabis is more clearly in charge of the company's fight back, according to people with knowledge of the move. Ooh, who are these people? To accelerate the search giant's efforts, Hassabis said his new team would need to work with greater speed, stronger collaboration and execution, and to simplify the way we make decisions to focus on achieving the biggest impact. To take on OpenAI, the newly formed Google DeepMind unit will need to put aside years of rivalry, according to several former Google and DeepMind employees and their collaborators. Well, that just adds an extra level of intrigue to the movie about the downfall of humanity. Although Google Brain was also staffed by elite AI researchers, the two teams had distinct cultures. London-based DeepMind was considered the company's crown jewel, largely closed off from the rest of the group and taking a top-down approach, according to four former employees across both organisations. It often worked on projects in stealth, although that became harder to do as they began to consume ever more computing power in Google's data centres. Imagine that, you're just working away and like the lights start to dim. They're like, what's going on? Like, it's DeepMind. They're using too much power. Right, in its mission to solve intelligence was scared. I don't really understand that sentence. Success for its employees was measured through publishing work in top tier. Sacred was sacred, not scared. Sacred. That's why it didn't make any sense. Its mission to solve intelligence was sacred. Success for its employees was measured through publishing work in its top-tier scientific journals like Nature. Three people close to DeepMind said its leaders are focused on Nobel-level problems, or problems that, if solved, would be worthy of a Nobel Prize. Meanwhile, California-headquartered Brain was more open and unstructured. It has contributed significantly to Google's bottom line over the years, according to multiple former employees. Brain's output has been integrated into search, ads, translation, and other parts of Google's business. Despite these successes, employees say they had started to feel aimless. Quote, I felt the organizational setup at Brain was actually, from the get-go, one that could not scale, said one former employee. Brain's leader, Jeff Dean, a long-serving and highly respected AI scientist at the company, was loath to make the hard calls required to focus and scale ideas, such as addressing personnel issues or killing failing products, the person said. The person, whoever this person is, that's what they said. Quote, if I had to sum up why OpenAI is where it is, with such fewer resources and people compared to Google, it's because they provided a clear mission. Brain had lost its way, end quote, they added. According to Pichai, last week's shake-up would allow Dean to focus on research, leaving Hassabis in charge of an expanded group of scientists. While the changes would probably ruffle a lot of feathers, quote, and cause some churn in staff, this might be Google's best chance at, quote, running a tighter ship and catching up to its competitors, according to people with knowledge of the merger. The two AI teams already responsible for major breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, DeepMind's contributions and AlphaFold DeepMind's contributions include AlphaFold, a software that can predict the shape of almost every known protein, which is actually pretty cool. Brains include the former and AI technique that is the foundation of the new wave of generative AI products, including ChatGPT and Google's own chatbot Bard, which is actually pretty good. Use Bard, it's good. Over the past 2 years, Hassabis came to accept the need for greater collaboration with Google, according to people close to the company. The amount of computing power and investment required to build so-called large language models, which can generate sophisticated and plausible text, has rapidly expanded. Recruiting AI talent is increasingly expensive. Microsoft announced this year that it would invest up to $10 billion in OpenAI over multiple years to meet these challenges. Hassabis's elevation also means that the heart of Google's AI operation shifts to London, a move with profound implications. Quote, how much influence DeepMind keeps greatly affects how responsible Google will be, said Dan Hendricks, research director of the Center for AI Safety. He noted that Shane Legg, a DeepMind co-founder, has been focused on AI safety and risk for more than a decade, while Google Brain did not have a dedicated safety or alignment team. Wow. Google said it had hundreds of people working on responsible AI across the company. Okay, maybe they're saying that it's everybody's job to do safety. People close to the new division said they believed the merger would be beneficial for AI research overall. Pichai said the most, quote, critical and strategic AI project would involve building a series of, quote, powerful multimodal AI models. These would be similar to GPT-4, which powers part of Google's Bing search engine, and Lambda, Google's model that powers its Bard chatbot. Lambda, the one that convinced the dude it was sentient. But it was not yet clear how the reorganisation would result in more ambitious commercial products, the people said. After all, DeepMind had never actively advocated the need to make money from its work. Those close to Hassabis argue that I've said that name about 17 times in this article and I still can't get it right. Argue that he understands now is the moment for change. Quote, Demis is very pragmatic and highly, highly competitive, one former DeepMind employee said. He is ideological in terms of the vision, but he wants to be on the frontier of this. He's not anti-commercial. This is the best way for him to do the job, or he wouldn't have agreed to do it. Now, all I really want to know from you guys is, do you think this is actually scary, or do you think the media are making it scary for clicks? Which one do you think it is? Do you think there is actual threat to humanity, or do you think that it's being blown out of proportion to sensationalize these things. Let me know in the comments, and make sure you tune in at 1 p.m. for the next segment of AI News.